Hello, my name is Dr. Allegra Martin, and I am so delighted that the Baroque artists of Champaign-Urbana are performing Margaret Bonds' great work, Credo. I wrote my dissertation about Margaret Bonds at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and I truly wish that I could be there to hear this amazing performance. Margaret Bonds was born in Chicago in 1913 and died in Los Angeles in 1972. Today, 50 years after her death, she is experiencing a swell in popularity, partially due to the discovery of her heirs a few years ago. This has made possible the publication of many of her works that were languishing in manuscript form. And thanks to the efforts of Hildegard Publishing and others, her work is experiencing a resurgence. Bonds struggled to find the success that her talent would otherwise have deserved, owing to her being both black and a woman. Thanks to her letters, essays, and interviews, we have much information about the challenges she faced because of her identity. One of her early upsetting experiences with racism came when she enrolled in Northwestern University as an undergraduate. She wrote in an essay later in life, "At age 16, my grandmother forced me to arise at 5 in the morning to travel 17 miles from Chicago to Evanston to attend that cesspool of white supremacy, bigotry, and prejudice known as Northwestern University. Colored girls weren't even allowed to swim in the swimming pool. Their black might rub off." End quote. Bonds was very close friends with Langston Hughes, but she encountered his poetry before she met him in person. In an interview about first discovering Langston Hughes' poetry, she said, "I met Langston, or his work, at the Evanston Public Library. I was looking in the basement there where they had the poetry. That's where it was then. As a Negro, I suppose, particularly because I was in this prejudiced university, terribly prejudiced. So I was in the basement of the Evanston Public Library, and I came in contact with that wonderful poem, The Negro Speaks of Rivers, and I'm sure that helped my feelings of security. Because in that poem he tells how great the black man is, and if I had any misgivings, which I would have to have, here you are in a setup where the restaurants don't serve you, and you're going to college, you're sacrificing, trying to get through school, and I know that that poem helped save me. And about a year later, I said it for Marian Anderson. She never sang it." End quote. Despite the toll that the racist environment at Northwestern took on Bonds, she finished not only an undergraduate but a master's degree there. In 1967, she proudly visited the campus again, taking her daughter DeJane to accept a prestigious alumni award. She wrote to Langston Hughes in November of 1966. "I suppose you know that on January 29th, 1967, DeJane and I will go to Evanston. There I am to receive the Northwestern University Alumni Achievement Award. DeJane is duly impressed, and of course it is of extreme importance that I impress DeJane. Never will I be one of those mothers with the violin moaning, 'I could have been so-and-so, but you retarded my progress.' I can truthfully tell my child, you have inspired me in every way." End quote. Bonds adored her daughter, but she was not a fan of the workload that came with being a wife and running the household. No discussion of Bonds' career would be complete without mentioning the second shift, a term coined in the 1980s to describe unpaid household and community labor that most often falls to women. Bonds was painfully familiar with this concept. In an interview with the Washington Post in 1964, she acknowledged the toll that this took on her. The article reads as follows. "Actually," she says, "I'm a wife and mother first, then I'm a career woman." She notes that all this is no easy job. "Women are expected to be wives, mothers, and do all the nasty things in the community. Oh, I do them. And if a woman is cursed with having talent, too, then she keeps apologizing for it. It really is a curse in a way, because instead of working 12 hours a day like other women, you work 24. End quote. We are very lucky today that despite the barriers of racism and sexism, Margaret Bonds still managed to write so much wonderful music, and there is no doubt that her experiences inspired her to choose W.E.B. Du Bois' Credo and to write such thrilling and beautiful music for it.